Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the very first Wednesday edition of Harmonize, 2Energize, where the format is quite different from the Friday, well, fairly different. It's sharing stories and experiences, and I've invited all of you to write to me and send in any inspiring story that you have that you'd like to share with everyone in the Jin Shin Jyutsu community and whoever else signs up on our website. So it's an exciting new beginning, if you like, and I hope that you're all going to find this as inspiring as I do. I've had several stories come through, and we're just making plans, as it were, to bring people on as and when we can. But it'll be a Wednesday generally. We may slip into Friday occasionally. A Wednesday generally for the stories. So for anyone who's absolutely brand new to Jin Shin Jyutsu is an art of harmonizing life energy or chi or ki, depending on what you've studied before. It's light actually coming into the body and moving through channels which we can activate in order to balance the energy pathways in the body on 26 safety energy blocks, left and right of the body. All right. Left and right of the spine. Well, you do have an etheric body, which sometimes jumps out, especially if you have a nightmare. But anyway, enough of that. And so I like mysteries, don't you? Well, I mean, most of us do. So today's mystery presenter is, and go, Kelly! Kelly, and today's mystery presenter is Kelly from Louisville, Kentucky. So welcome, Kelly. I know you're probably very well known to some of the people that are here today, but just give us a little bit of background before you present your stories. Here we go.
Of course. And Terry, first, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is such a special opportunity that you're giving our Jin Shin Jyutsu community and people all over the world to learn about and discover the art of Jin Shin Jyutsu. And it's really wonderful what you're doing. So thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, I love it. You know? The opportunity to get on the stage. All right.
Well, again, my name is Kelly Mount, and I'm a Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioner in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm a longtime class organizer of Jin Shin Jyutsu classes here. And for many years, I worked as the program manager for the Mary Burmeister Jin Shin Jyutsu Outreach. And I'm also a certified practitioner for animals, and I'm endorsed by Adele East to teach Jin Shin Jyutsu for you and your animal companions. And so I'm really excited to be here today just to share again in the magic and the mystery that is the art of Jin Shin Jyutsu. And over the years, you know, I feel like I've witnessed and experienced many miracles unfolding. And I know you have a slide with the quote from Albert Einstein, and I would love for you to share that, Terry, if you don't mind to pull that up for me.
Right. Here we go.
You know, and I love this wisdom, and this is kind of the way I choose to see the world. There are two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, and the other is though everything is a miracle. And I believe every breath we receive is a miracle in and of itself. And so the art of Jin Shin Jyutsu really is the art of harmony, the art of living, and it's the art of breathing. And so, you know, a miracle sometimes is defined as any extraordinary event that unfolds that kind of has this mysterious cause or no unexplainable scientific or natural reason why it might unfold. And there we have a flow in Jin Shin Jyutsu, a special flow that we can both give ourselves and give our friends and family called the opposite fingers and toes flow. And over the years, I've used this flow many times with clients, but there are two particular instances where I had the opportunity to share this opposite fingers and toes flow. And I really felt like I got to experience something very miraculous that unfolded. And so I'd like to share this story or these stories with everyone today. And you're welcome to leave this screen up or to reduce it, Terry. It's totally up to you. But I'd just like to speak for a moment about these two stories. So in my practice, I had a man that started me for weekly sessions when he was 16 years old. His name was Jacob, and I have both permission to use images and names for these stories, and I've written about them in our newsletter called The Main Central, which you can order through the Jin Shin Jyutsu website at www.jsjinc.net. But Jacob started seeing me when he was 16 years old for a scoliosis project. And he's a bit of a mechanical engineer, a young genius with mechanical things, cars, motors. And when he was in his early 20s, I believe he was around 24 when the accident happened, his brother had purchased a dirt bike from a friend for a good deal. And Jacob had agreed to fix this for his brother. And so one Sunday afternoon, he was tinkering with the motor on this dirt bike, and he got it up and running. And so he took it outside to the parking lot of his father's building just to test out the motor. And unfortunately, he didn't have a helmet on, and the dirt bike malfunctioned, and it threw him over the handlebars, and he landed on concrete on his head. It was a really tragic event, and he was rushed to our local emergency room where they work with head traumas. And he had 4 skull fractures, a broken clavicle, broken ribs. He was bruised from his head to his toes, and his mother reached out to me within 24 hours of the accident. And of course, I dropped everything and went right to the hospital to see him. And we learn about this opposite fingers and toes flow because in so many instances, many practitioners report having these miraculous and profound experiences with it. And our hands and feet, our palms, our soles, our fingers, our toes have very regenerative power within them. And so when I went to the hospital, to the ER, the first flow that I gave Jacob was the opposite fingers and toes flow. And it's literally just like what it sounds like. You begin with the thumb on one hand, with the little toe on the opposite foot, and then you just slowly work through each finger and toe, working through both hands and both feet. And the first time I gave him this flow, I didn't feel much circulation. In Jin Shin Jyutsu, we can feel the pulse moving through the tissue of the body. And so I was really concerned. I knew that his injuries were very critical because I wasn't feeling that vibration of the pulse moving through his fingers and toes. So his mother has also studied Jin Shin Jyutsu, and I taught his mother, his grandmother, his aunt, his sister, his girlfriend at the time, all how to use the opposite fingers and toes flow. So during this critical period, everyone was giving him this flow. And it's safe enough that when someone is in a critical condition, you can give this flow every 10 minutes on the hour, as long as someone's available to give it. So that's 1 minute each finger and toe. And certainly if there's not enough people available to give it that frequently, you can do it for a longer period of time, 20 or 30 minutes, no longer than an hour, a couple of times a day. And so Jacob was in a coma, and he developed staph, sepsis, and pneumonia. His body was really fighting hard, and there were a lot of things going on. And so, we always instead of looking at individual parts and pieces, we want to look at the human being as one organism. And so this opposite fingers and toes flow really allows us that opportunity, even past a kidney stone. So the body was really struggling. And during the course of that first week, he was what they call storming, where they have a lot of challenges with breathing, the heart rate increases, and they have a lot of involuntary movements. There was initial talk of putting a shunt in the brain to draw off the fluid that was there. And that was one of the things I felt like the Jin Shin Jyutsu was really helpful with, is just helping to gently help the body deal with the fluid, the excess of fluid that was in the body. And Jin Shin Jyutsu is gentle, it's safe, it's effective, and it can do no harm. Sometimes it may be that people don't feel like they experience something when they hold places on the body. But with Jin Shin Jyutsu, we can cause no harm. So I was able to be there during that critical time just to help support the harmony in the body and to give the body the spark it needed to harmonize itself. We think of our hands as jumper cables. So we place the palms of the hands on the body. And it's like a spark for the body's own innate intelligence to help the body's circulation pattern. So if there are blockages in the energetic patterns due to things like stress and anxiety, or accident, injury, or trauma, we're just sparking the body's rundown energy battery, just like spark plugs on a rundown car battery. So we were using this flow during that critical period, and it was around day 7 where the doctors had done new brain scans, and they came in with some really grave news for the family. They wanted the family to know that Jacob had sustained what they call an axonal diffuse injury, or it's like a shearing of the cells in the brain, in those neural tissues. And they didn't know if he would ever recover from that. And if he did survive, which they didn't think that he would never be the same. And so that's really devastating news for a family to hear. But we never gave up hope, and we kept using the opposite fingers and toes flow as many times a day as we could offer it. And amazingly, on day 11, Jacob woke up from his coma. And not only did he wake up from his coma, he was the person that we knew and remembered. When I arrived at the hospital, he had been awake for a while, and he was laughing and joking with his friends. He knew who he was. He knew who they were. He wasn't happy about having to spend time in the hospital and be hooked up to all of the machines. And it really was this miraculous experience. And again, there's a more detailed account of this story in the article that I wrote for the Main Central, and sharing some of the flows that I used in support of that recovery process. Jake did have to have a trach put in for breathing, and it took some time, about a year, for him to get off that trach. So it was quite a journey. And of course, as people with traumatic brain injuries, there are ongoing things that even today we continue to work with. But the miraculous part of this story is that he's returned to his life. He's the same person that we know and love. And he's now married and has with his first child. And so I look forward to sharing the pictures with you in just a moment. But I would also like to share another story of a critical injury where I used this opposite fingers and toes flow. And for me, these were two very different situations where these people that I know and care about were very critically injured. But there was one common denominator. And for me, that common denominator, the miracle that unfolded, was the opposite fingers and toes flow. And I have a girlfriend, her name is Whitney, and it's still so hard to say out loud, but almost 3 years ago, she was involved in a mass shooting at her workplace. It was a bank in Cincinnati, Ohio, where she had worked for, I can't remember, 14, 16 years. And she walked into the bank that morning on a conference call for work and didn't know that there was an active shooter situation. And immediately when she walked through the revolving doors into the lobby, she was shot 12 times and survived. And I share both of these stories because the miracle is that anytime we have a breath in this body, we have the ability and possibility to transform and heal and harmonize. And miraculously, where she was shot, of course, she sustained injuries that she's still recovering from. But gratefully, they hit no major internal organs or no major arteries. And she was able to be transported to the hospital in Cincinnati. And I reached out to her husband after finding out that this event took place and offered to share Jin Shin Jyutsu with her. And so as soon as she came home from the hospital, which was remarkably a couple of days later, I was able to go to her house and give her Jin Shin Jyutsu once a day, 5 days a week. She doesn't live far from our children's school, so I would drop my son off at carpool and go by her home before seeing clients during the week. And in the beginning, where she sustained the majority of her injuries were in the right shoulder and the right arm. The bullets had pulverized her right shoulder, and she had to have pretty extensive surgery and another bone graft surgery to help mobilize the arm again. She also sustained injuries to the left hand, to the feet, and so she would sit in a reclining chair, and I would sit in the floor, and I would give her this opposite fingers and toes flow. And for about 1.5 years, we worked with this opposite fingers and toes flow. She was eventually able to move to the sofa to receive some other flows that helped in her recovery. The bone graft came from her knee, so there was quite a few challenges that she faced. And about 1.5 years later, the doctors were so surprised because they thought that she would have the metal, the rods and pins and all holding her right arm together. They thought that she would have to live with those for the rest of her life. And miraculously, after 1.5 years, she was able to have those removed, and she's continuing to recover and has started a foundation called Whitney Strong. And you can follow her at whitneystrong.org. And she just has this amazing, inspirational story. She's my hero. And of course, she's now an advocate against gun violence. And she's really doing some remarkable things. And I'm just so honored to have been present for both of these beautiful beings in their time of need, and to offer this opposite fingers and toes flow. And never at any point was I ever in control of the outcome. I was only able to be present and use my hands as jumper cables and offer this regenerative and restorative flow. And so, Terry, I'd love to share the pictures of Jacob and Whitney with everyone. And again, I do have permission from them to share these images. But I wanted to share first the photo of when they were both injured, and you can see Whitney there on the right when she was in the hospital after being shot. And Jacob, this was at day 11 when he first woke up in the hospital. And I one of the amazing things that I notice in this image is as graphic and difficult sometimes as these images are to see, Jacob has no bruising on his body. And when the accident happened, he had lots of swelling in the head. He had lots of bruising on the face. He had a black eye. There was visible bruising all over the body. And so there was something that happened during that time in receiving the opposite fingers and toes flow, where it was already helping to restore the body's vitality. And so when I show the images of their injuries. I also like to show the images of them now. And Terry, if you'll just forward to the next slide. So I love this image of Jacob on his wedding day and Whitney with her husband, who is also the co-founder of her organization. And it just, I hope that it inspires everyone that change and transformation is possible. I understand that Mary Burmeister, who brought Jin Shin Jyutsu to the United States in the 1960s, it's my understanding that she would sometimes say in her classes that what mankind creates in a lifetime, the Creator can undo in a single breath. So we have this restorative, regenerative, harmonizing power in the breath, and available to us at the palms of our hands and, of course, the soles of our feet. And so I'd like to share how we use this opposite fingers and toes flow on our friends and family. So Terry, if you just want to forward to the next slide. I created this. We don't have this flow really written anywhere. And again, you can start right side or left side. You can be seated, standing, sitting next to the person on their right or left side. And according to their comfort and your own, you can switch sides of the body depending on which hand and foot you're on, or you can stay seated from the same side. But just so that I'll tell you, once you start holding fingers and toes, it's easy to reverse the flow and go backwards through the toes. So I always kind of like to have a set beginning and ending place. So I always begin with the thumb on one hand, with the little toe on the opposite foot. And then you just hold each digit across. So you'd be going then from the thumb and little toe to the index finger and ring toe, to the middle finger, middle toe, to the ring finger and the index toe, and the little finger and the big toe. And you can always begin or end holding the center of the palm of the hand with the opposite center of the sole of the foot. And we can even offer this flow with our animal companions simply by holding opposite paws. So you can hold the right front paw with the left hind, or the left front with the right hind. And sometimes you're even lucky enough to have a creature, an animal companion, that will allow you to hold the actual digits on the toes. But it's completely applicable for all creatures. So I just like to share this flow. I have had such powerful opportunities to use it over the years. It's wonderful for anyone undergoing chemo and radiation. It's really wonderful for anyone to receive at any time, no matter what's going on in the body, even if there's not a critical injury. This is just a simple, sweet flow that we can share anytime with anyone. And so now I'd just like to share a few simple ways that we can use this flow on ourselves without having to feel like we're playing a game of Twister. So Terry, I don't, perfect. Let me just adjust my camera here on the, let's see. Let me just scoot back. So again, we can hold the center of the palm of the hand and the center of the sole of the foot. So we can always hold left hand on right sole of foot, and we can do that one at a time. Sometimes I like to use a 36 breath meditation where I exhale and inhale 4 groups of 9 breaths. So we can go back and forth holding the opposite palm and sole of foot. I can't do it here on this stool, but you can sit Indian style holding opposite palms and soles. And of course, sit in a meditative position and hold both at the same time. We have a way, if you're limber, where we can do bending and stretching, where we simply hold opposite fingers and toes. And if that's not comfortable, we have a really simple way we can adapt this as a self-help. And so, like you would hold with your left hand, the left little toe. Just And with your right hand, you can simply place the thumb in between the fingers. You can make a circle with the thumb over the ring fingernail, and then you would simply move through each finger and toe. Again, going to the ring toe, the thumb and index finger, the middle toe, middle finger, ring finger, index toe, the second toe, and the big toe and the little finger. And again, if all of these seem too complicated, we simply place the center of the palms together and know that we're connecting to our source, to our breath of life. So I hope I've inspired you to at least experiment and experience the opposite fingers and toes flow for yourself and with your friends and family. Terry, that's really what I had to share today. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat or anything else that you'd like for me to share about this journey with the opposite fingers and toes flow.
Thank you, first of all. It's just a wonderful introduction to, I think, opposite fingers and toes for anybody, especially when we've had what I would say were quite extreme situations for people, really. I mean, this wasn't someone just falling over in the street. And Mary would always say, and the teachers too, that simple is best. And opposite fingers and toes, really, folks, I mean, you might have to bend here and there, but when you connect to your toes with your fingers like this, unless you have some kind of issue, and by the way, if you don't have an arm, you can still make the connection because the energy is there. It's just very simple, isn't it?
Yes, and we always have the breath. Even with our hands or our feet aren't available for us, we always have the breath.
Yeah. And I was learning a bit there, folks, because generally I just go for the fingers and the toes. I seem to overlook the center of the palm of the hand or the center of the soul, which are, in fact, the source connectors for the universal energy. So thank you for introducing that. And I think I'd seen this idea with the mudras, but I had not ever shown it as a self-help. So that was another thing I learned today. I was real happy to be in the audience, enough of me just yakking away. So that was really helpful. And so I hope everybody... Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, sometimes we have to be creative and inventive. And you saying that made me think about recommending Mary Burmeister's 3 self-help books. And this Opposite Fingers and Toes Flow is featured in Self-Help Book 3 and also in the book Touch of Healing by Alice Burmeister. And both of those are available in the bookstore at www.jsjinc.net.
And I didn't pay her or ask her to do this, folks.
No.
Well, this promotion is totally off in the moment. So that's great. Thank you. Yes. So those of you that haven't got the books, or those of you who are completely brand new to Jin Shin and unlikely to have the books, go to our store. You can actually do it on the website, which is, hold on 1 minute, I will show you the website.
Yes, and Terry, while you're pulling that up, I would like to mention that I offer a study group, a free Jin Shin Jyutsu self-help study group every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is New York time, for 1 hour. Anybody's welcome to join, even if they've never had a class, but we have a really wonderful global community of students and practitioners who join every week. And during the pandemic, it's just really helped to feel like we have a community where we can learn and grow in our understanding and awareness together. And I also offer a free 1 hour self-help class called Breathe and Receive with our local Gildas Club, but it's on Zoom, so anyone can join from anywhere, and it's every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And to register, you go through Gildas Club. It's www.gck.org, and you go to their special events calendar to register. And anybody can join, even though they're a cancer support community. Anybody is welcome to join.
Great. Yeah, so make your connections with Kelly. As she said, they're online, so you can connect with her, and you send them the link, right?
Yes, I believe I'm listed on the Practitioner Locator on the Jin Shin Jyutsu website. So if you want to use that, you'll be able to find me, my email, phone number to text or call.
Oh, there you go, folks. Here we go. And now I'm going to go to the website. Can you all see me? Can you all see the website? Can you see the website?
I can see you, but I can't see the website. I don't know.
Oh, I've got to turn the screen share on again. Okay, here we go. All right, now can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Kelly was talking about there was the Practitioner Locator on our website. So you go to the homepage and go to practitioners, and you can search US. Let's find Kelly. Why not? And then we're gonna. It's Louisville, Kentucky. So you go to Kentucky. This is the quick way. And then we're going to find Kelly. There she is. There's all her information.
And just to give you an update, my email is skellymac@icloud.com. I no longer have an AOL account, so that updated. But anybody's welcome to reach out for self-help suggestions or to join either of the.
Hello? You there? Kelly?
Oh, there we go. I was gone for just a moment. So I was mysterious again.
Yes, the mystery returns. Okay, so so connect with Kelly there, and here we have the store, which we were talking about. If you wanted to purchase any of the books, the books are here. They're listed here. There they are. The self-help books 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is for working with youngsters, babies, and etc. You can buy them in 3-book, 4-book, and it's in different languages too. So you go to the store and you can say, and there's the Animal Companion book for those of you like Kelly, who I know. I think, Kelly, you're a certified Jin Shin Jyutsu animal practitioner, correct?
I am, and I'm a lifelong equestrian. I have dogs and cats, chickens, and I tell you, the animals really love receiving Jin Shin Jyutsu. They're very sensitive and amenable to the touch, and even animals that have had abuse or who have been in shelters, who are adopted, really learn to accept and love the art also.
So there you are, a multi-talented lady here. So if you love animals, which I believe most people do, I've actually done some of the classes myself with Adele, and I think Kelly does some teaching on them as well. They're really worthwhile. If you love your animal, this is a perfect way of sharing some love with them and helping them harmonize in their life. Okay, so quickly, this class, folks, coming to our senses, is probably going to be postponed to another date yet again. Sorry, but the realization that it was over the Labor Day weekend didn't happen until yesterday. So change that. And I think the class, on the organic conversations with JSJ is carrying on. Begin the 5th class beginning this Friday with Sarah, Maria, and Jill. And beginning September the 7th, 9 months of creation with Anita Willoughby. And then if you've missed an online class, they can all be connected to by hitting one of these links. All right. So,
Terry, thank you again. This was really special, and I was so excited to join today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Three guests.
Yeah, I mean, I'd not heard Kelly's story because I get busy with other things, but it was really revelatory, and her explanation of Jin Shin Jyutsu and that particular flow and how you can use it for self-help was perfect. And I hope you've all got some inspiration yourselves. And I'm looking forward to presenting on Friday. As you know, I'll be here same time on a Friday, and we'll be doing the practices from the self-help books, or there may be a guest presenter, and indeed Kelly may come on that on one occasion and present some self-help practices there. That would be something I would enjoy too. So everybody, those of you that are still with us, thank you. Stay safe, be well. And, maybe if you haven't before, experiment with the opposite fingers and toe flow. Just start with your palms and the sole of your foot like that, or wherever. Begin, and thinking about that quote, what, that Kelly shared about, we can create projects in essence for years, but the creator, can actually harmonize them in one breath. What have you got to lose? Nothing.
Yeah.
Except your stress.
And I want to say, Mary always said, be the smile. And recently, and looking up the definition for the word miracle, I love this, see miracles in life everywhere. And so let us remember to be the smile and be, as Einstein says, to really experience the miracles available to us every day.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you again, Kelly, and thank you, everybody who's joined us today. There will be a recording. The splendid LA from Brazil is going to do the job, as he always does. He's such a great supporter. He'll support you with having an upload to the YouTube, the Jin Shin Jyutsu YouTube page, maybe within the 24 to 48 hours boundary, and sometimes because he's busy a little bit later. But it'll be there, and I'm hoping that LA himself will come on and treat us all to a story too.
Absolutely.
So that's it.
Thank you, Ali, and thank you, David Burmeister and the Mary Burmeister Jin Shin Jyutsu Institute for making this possible.
Indeed. Okay. Cheerio, everybody. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, and we'll see you Friday. Oh, and Kelly will see you Tuesdays. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Kelly.